You are listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBrit.com with myself, Total Biscuit. So, I watched the Cataclysm cinematic like the rest of you, obviously, and a few things stood in my mind. The first thing I think was, why did they release it now and not at BlizzCon? Let's have a look at the BlizzCon 2010 schedule, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it is a little odd, isn't it? Oh, God, it actually has a freaking thing, and I can't stop it. This is the worst thing. Why would you design your website this way? You can hear this in the background through my speakers, can't you? And I can't stop it. It doesn't have a stop option. It's an autoplay horrible thing. Oh, God, shut up, please. Please die. It's still talking. There's the stop. The stop is so freaking well hidden. Oh, well. Anyway. Okay. As I was saying, where is the schedule? There's supposed to be a schedule for this. I suppose I'm glad that this mic is quite directional and that you can't actually hear stuff that's coming through the speakers. Let's develop panels. There was a schedule for this. Here we go. There's the schedule. Schedule of events. First day. Opening ceremony. Cinematics. Cataclysm. Yes. So, the schedule is sort of weird because it actually cuts off at the end. It's not properly designed. Either that or it doesn't work well in Chrome. Anyway, there's a panel about the cinematics for Cataclysm, and I do wonder what that's actually going to have, because evidently it's not just going to be, we're going to show you the Cataclysm cinematic, because that's already out. Also, I thought that was going to be happening on the first day in the opening ceremony from 11 to 11:30, so I have to assume, on that basis, that there's going to be something else. So what could it be? Well, a couple of possibilities. First one could be Diablo, but I don't think there will be another Diablo announcement. It's too underwhelming. As much as I love Diablo, I think the majority of people go to BlizzCon for the World of Warcraft, for the StarCraft II, for the esports, and Diablo is probably a distant third on their list. If we look at the panels, there's barely anything for Diablo at all. There's a Diablo 3 open Q&A, and there's a one for gameplay, and that's it. So there are 2 total Diablo 3 panels. It's not a big deal. It just isn't. As much as I actually like the look of it, it would be terrible if their opening ceremony was, we're going to announce another class for Diablo, because I think the vast majority of people would turn around and say, meh. I certainly would. Don't get me wrong. I love Diablo. Diablo's freaking awesome. I don't care. I do not care that there's going to be another class announcement. I don't care what the classes are for Diablo, because I'll play whatever I feel like at the time. You know, I'm not suddenly min-maxing my build. Oh my god, the wizard. Oh, the wizard. I'm going to do this for the wizard. Blah, blah, blah. No, I don't care. I'm not thinking that far ahead. It's not like WoW, you know, where it changes the entire face of the game. It is just a class. I will play whatever class I feel like at the time, and probably, because I'll only be playing it in a LAN environment, I will only... Oh, wait! There are no LAN environments, because they disabled the LAN play! Aye! Oh my god. Anyway, I will try and play it anyway. Should I say lag environment? Well, anyway, I will be playing with friends, and I'll probably pick the class that most complements what everyone else picks, and I don't actually otherwise care. I don't care what class I play in these games. I played loads of different classes in Diablo, Torchlight, Titan Quest, Fate, all sorts of different hack-and-slash RPGs. It does not matter. My thought is that they will announce the new IP. Honestly, we know there's a new IP. We've known about it for ages. We just have no idea what it is. For God's sake, there's been loads of job postings for the last couple of years. There's been rumors flying all over the place. I would imagine it will be another MMO property. As to whether or not it'll be subscription or free, I do not know. But it is new IP. They said it's a new universe. It is not Warcraft. It is not StarCraft. So it's going to be something new, and that's good because it's about time that Blizzard actually injected some fresh blood into their franchises. Because as much as I love all their franchises, more stuff, please. Because they did release some good games before they started doing Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo. One of which was Rock and Roll Frickin' Racing, which is bloody amazing, I might add. I would love to see a sequel to that. I would love to see an online version of Rock and Roll Racing. That would be unbelievable. Well, think about it. It's Activision, who already have all of these rights to use this music for Guitar Hero. Why can we not get all of this music into Rock and Roll Frickin' Racing too? That would be wonderful. What about Lost Vikings? They always have these great... And Lost Vikings was amazing for the time. Blizzard has more up its sleeve than just those three things. And if you haven't heard of Rock and Roll Racing, go get an emulator and go and play Rock and Roll Racing. Because it is freaking awesome! Oh, yes it is. Anyway, that was not the point of what I was getting at. What I was getting at was the fact that it does seem a little odd that they released the cinematic now. Because that would indicate that they're going to be doing something else at BlizzCon. As to what that's going to be a bloody mystery, isn't it? Well, I'd like to work out, when is the opening ceremony? The opening ceremony is, conveniently, 11 to 11:30 PST. What time is that? Well, bear in mind this is on... It's Friday, isn't it? October the 22nd, isn't it? Let's check. Yeah. So, 11 a.m. Pacific is 7 p.m. 7 p.m., which will be the start of my pre-show, which means, yes, that I will know exactly what the opening ceremony is, and will have watched it because I have the stream, so I'll be doing the pre-show while I watch the stream, and then I can talk directly about what was said in the opening ceremony straight into Blue Please. So that will work quite nicely. And as far as I can tell, then there's nothing on WoW until... Yeah, there's Dungeons and Raids at 1. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Actually, it's 1:30. Ha! Perfect! Oh, I love it. It's like Blizzard scheduled this around my show. 1:30, which is 9:30, which is directly after my show ends. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, yes. As to what I'm going to be doing on this stuff, well, I don't really know. I don't really have any plans for BlizzCon, per se. It depends. I'm asking Blizzard about a few things, because last year... You're probably sort of aware of what happened last year, or maybe you aren't. One of the things which actually caused the downfall of WoW Radio, because it caused a massive number of rifts, is the big... They basically changed plans at the last minute. We got screwed over there, and we were going to be playing clips and things like that. And what I'll probably do this year is, if I am able to do that... I will take clips from the live broadcast and I will integrate them into video commentary. Now, you were able to do that last year as long as it was after the fact and as long as I believe it was no more than 30 seconds long. If I can do that, I will do it. And what I'll just do is I'll record, like, all of the VODs and everything and then just slice things up. So, we'll see. Anyway, like I said, I don't really have any deliberate plans for BlizzCon, but that's what's going to be happening for Blue Please, because, like I say, Blue Please is perfectly timed around the opening ceremony and the Dungeons and Raids panel, which I will be watching directly after that. And what else is there? Quests and Lore will be up after that. I don't really care about that. I mean, what are they going to say about quests, honestly? I think all that can be said has been said. Costume and Dance Contest, nobody cares about that. There's the live raid after that. Cinematics Class Q&A at 12 o'clock the day after that, then open Q&A for WoW, which I will watch out of sheer embarrassment. It will be. It will honestly be out of sheer embarrassment, because the kind of people that ask questions at those open Q&As are the worst people in the world. It is incredibly, incredibly bad. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. It's quite silly, isn't it? Anyway, I was going to talk about Cataclysm Cinematic, wasn't I? Before I got derailed talking about the BlizzCon. Let's see what there is. Well, I'm just going to put this on right now. I'm going to put the Cataclysm Cinematic on, and you won't hear it in the background, but I'll just give you some commentary of what is actually happening here, because, like I said, I wasn't massively enthused by it, honestly. There we go. So it's running in the background. I think the problem with it is that it does show some cool stuff, and it is a really nicely put together cinematic. It lacks any kind of identity, really. It's hinged everything on Deathwing. And it's weird because it totally ignores the fact that there are new classes, there are new class race combinations, there are new races, there are massive new areas and things like that. None of that is shown. It spends some time looking at the old areas, like, well, he flies over that and something weird happens. It's kind of odd, honestly, because the effects of Deathwing actually flying over all of this stuff is... it's not consistent. Let me put it that way. He flies over the dam, I believe it's around Loch Modan, and it causes some minor cracks. But then he flies over something else and suddenly everything explodes. And it's like, that's in the Barrens. Okay, so he bursts out there. No big deal. And we also know that it's the goblins who are armoring him and stuff like that. And he's talking about, oh, I hate everything. I'm really, really powerful. I hate everything. Blah, blah, blah. And it just, I'm not enthused. It's great looking. I mean, can anyone deny the sheer mastery of the animators? I certainly hope not, because it looks absolutely goddamn incredible. But it just lacks any sort of identity. It hinges so very much on, hey, Deathwing, woo, Deathwing, and it ignores the story of everybody else. Whereas the Burning Crusade cinematic, I think the Burning Crusade cinematic had... It wasn't the best thing either, yeah? But it had a good idea. What it did was, it split the attention between the new areas, yeah, which you don't see any new areas at all in this Cataclysm cinematic. It's all the old stuff. So, and that's kind of annoying because you don't see some really amazing stuff. I mean, I would have liked to see a cinematic bit of Vashir would be cool. What about... is that Gilneas he flew over there? I can't really tell. You can never really tell. It might have been... no, actually, because he just landed on Stormwind. That was Northshire he flew over. It is really style over substance. Whereas, look at the Burning Crusade one. You had some memorable lines in there. I mean, that whole "you are not prepared" thing became a meme for ages, and there was nothing like that in Wrath, and there's nothing here either that stood out as an amazingly good line. In the case of the Burning Crusade cinematic, you got a bit of introduction to the antagonist. Although, bear in mind that TBC, one of the weak points of TBC was that the antagonist was not involved enough in your leveling up process. Like, you didn't see him, he was just hiding around. And they alleviated that in Wrath by having that dude be... that dude, lol. See what I'm saying? Arthas! Yes! They had Arthas get involved in a bunch of stuff, whereas with Illidan, he didn't really do anything, and then Deathwing is getting involved in stuff as well. You see him flapping about a bit. He's maybe not as involved as Arthas was in Wrath, but he's there, and you see him, and you'll see him a couple of times in various different areas, so it's not like he's not there. Anyway, the point of the matter is that in the Burning Crusade cinematic, you got an introduction to the two new races. Maybe they focused a little bit too much on the Blood Elves, but hey, it's eye candy, so can you really blame them for that? You gotta look at Draenei, and you gotta look at the fight. Hey, it's a Draenei Paladin. Here's what a Draenei Paladin does. Draenei Paladin smacking things about. There was a troll, you know? I think it's something that I really liked about the original cinematic. You guys actually remember the original World of Warcraft cinematic? Where you saw all the races, and you saw some fighting and some classes and stuff like that, and it was pretty awesome. You remember that? I remember that. I thought that was absolutely bloody fantastic. And then we just don't get any of that in the Cataclysm cinematic, and I have to wonder why, really. I think Blizzard actually thinks we care more about Deathwing than we do. Don't get me wrong, Deathwing is a badass. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Deathwing is a badass. He does a bunch of really cool stuff. However, we don't really have any connection to him. We've barely seen him. I mean, we saw him in, what was it, Warcraft 2? He was in Warcraft 2. I believe he was in, what was it, the Beyond the Dark Portal expansion, I think? If I remember correctly, that was a long, long time ago. But otherwise, there's not a massive amount of stuff that's been done. I mean, you know who Arthas is. If you've played Warcraft 3, you know who Arthas is. If you've played Warcraft 3, you know who Illidan is. But if you play Warcraft 3, you don't, really. I think about that. This is one is this the first expansion, including vanilla, I might add, where there hasn't been a major connection to Warcraft 3? Because I'm thinking, probably. And you think about it, the last boss of Vanilla was Kel'Thuzad, who was a major element of Warcraft 3. You had two big end bosses in TBC. You had Kil'jaeden, and you also, of course, had Illidan. And Archimonde. Major connections to Warcraft 3. And then Cataclysm. Is this the attempt to move beyond Warcraft 3? Because I understand that. You know, you can't live on the legacy of that game forever. But I think that it does cause a fair amount of problems for those of us who really played a lot of Warcraft 3 and maybe a lot of Warcraft 2 as well. Because we just don't have this real connection to him beyond what's written in the lore. And a lot of us don't pay attention to that. You know, what I know of WoW is generally based on what I played in Warcraft 2 and 3. As opposed to right now where I'm relying on WoW Wiki and I'm relying on the freaking novels, which 99% of people do not read. In regards to Deathwing, no. It's just not there for me, honestly. They've gone down the route of the Wrath cinematic with this, and the Wrath cinematic is carried by the fact that we know the character. Yeah? We know Arthur's inside freaking out. Yeah? So, when we see Arthur's doing cool stuff, it's like, ooh, look, there is Frostworm, and there is Army, and there is stuff, then we do get enthused by that. But again, that cinematic wasn't that great either, because it didn't actually show player classes. It's incredibly ridiculous, isn't it, when you think about it, that the opening cinematic to Wrath did not feature the major element of that expansion, which was the Death Knight. No Death Knights. At all. In that cinematic. None. I suppose you could argue that, oh, well, some of those undead down there might be Death Knights. Well, they might be, but they don't look like them. Whereas, with Burning Crusade, you see, hey, look, Draenei. It's a paladin. It's smacking things around. Oh, look! Sexy Blood Elf. Okay. It's healing stuff. It's doing stuff. Cool. Excellent. And then you see some other stuff. It's like, oh, there's an orc there. There's a troll, which automatically makes it the best cinematic. And then this... No. I'm not enthused the way that I was with the TBC one, because the TBC one, for me, was fantastic. When I saw that, oh, holy crap. Unbelievable. I must have watched that cinematic 20 times. Absolutely fantastic. I understand that a lot of people got really hyped about this particular cinematic. I just didn't, and that's why. My name is Total Biscuit, and you are listening to Blue Please here on CynicalBread.com. When I come back after the break, I think we'll have a look at the email box and see what we can do about discussing things in there. I need something cataclysmic. Do I have anything cataclysmic? I can play Dimmu Borgir again, but I think that is a little bit silly. Let's look for Dragon. Let's see what I have on my plays for Dragon. Yeah, I've got 69 tracks with the word Dragon in them. I think I need more than that. Yeah, let's go with Luca Torelli, Black Dragon. That works. I'll be right back after this, folks. Enjoy.